Heritage music is something that comes from the people of their areas, the people of, they don't even have to be musicians often a lot of the time. It's the stories that they have, and to express those stories, they're going to do it to a bit of rhythm, they're going to do it to an evening's entertainment as well. From the old days of having just a piano in the halls and such, and those pianos, even though they'd only get played occasionally, the tuning would get reduced to just those middle areas because they knew that that was still working, and you know that was all they needed and such. Lots of weird things in that regard of how music survived any situation, the wars and such. You know, that was the other thing. In the wars, they had no gear. They made old fiddle. I wish I had it here. Old fiddle carved, hand carved, just 50 k's down the road here. You can see the end grain on the fiddle, sort of thing. So it's actually carved out right the way, wooden, no metal nails, all wooden nails tacked back in, holding things together. And the cigar box forms of music and such. So whatever it took in the dim, dark times, sort of thing, produced a connection with their time. So, and that is what generates and flows through over the years. Everyone has hardships, everyone has joy and glory and such. So to express it in their music, that is the heritage, and that is what comes through in the music. We're in a lucky era where there is so much information that people only need a hint. It's like when a kid, when a penny drops through the kid's eyes, they hear a banjo perhaps or something else, they go, what is that? And that's enough. They know that they need to. Bela Fleck, a classic example, American guy in New York, but he heard the banjo, and he was, you know, he was in classical and all kinds of things, but once he heard the banjo, he knew there was something different in that, and he had to have it. So, and you get that all the time with kids. There'll be some sound, it might be accordion, it might be whichever, or they see the shape of it. They're going, what is that? So anything can inspire it, or just the fact that their dad told them stories in such a way, such a lyrical way, such almost like a melody to its own. I mean, when we teach people how to play music, often I say, no, read me this. You're going to sing it, I want you to read it to me. Now, as you read it, see that as you read it to me, there's a story, there's a melody in how it goes. And when you bring it up, the high, the low, it's all melody. So everyone is a folk musician. Everyone has that in them if they're passionate about something. So I think it's already there. We don't have to look for it. We don't have to chase it. We just have to make it possible for them to do it in company of others as well. So facilitating that's, well, largely my job in one sense. Got the festivals. We have huge festivals, the Yarra Junction Fiddlers Convention. 30 years now, more than 30 years we've been going there, and the kids have grown up with it, and the next generation's grown up with it. There's 3 generations I've been watching there now. It's stunning, and there's always hope. Pat Drummond was there last night, and he's went, these kids are all playing this music, there's hope. I said, of course there's hope. But as I say, from just the very essence of how you present yourself, there is a storytelling, there is a melody, there is heritage in everyone's voice. There is the battle, so to speak, against the commerciality. People get just pushed and pushed. They only get what they see on TV. If they flick onto the sideline channels, your SBS and what have you, maybe they'll catch a few things, the glimpse. Our job, as far as like turning up at schools, turning up down the street, turning up wherever we can, and just giving that the kids an opportunity to hear something that could be different, something that could inspire. You only need a few leaders. You only need a few people to spread the wildfire, sort of thing, and off it goes. Recently, the last 20 years has been banjo time. Banjos have gone through the roof. Our wonderful friend here, Dick Best, he retired here. He was a horse handler, retired into collecting banjos and selling them. In the last probably 15 years, he had a retirement pension just on selling banjos because people are so into it. So I think it's a misnomer to think that it's going cold or it's in the back box. We get pushed so much with the commercial TV and radio and such. Most of us I don't listen to radio. I don't hear enough there. Occasionally, when I was young, I could find 5UV in Adelaide, Triple M, they had their specialist programs. the community radio stations. That's the only place that you get a chance to hear a heritage of music. There is all sorts of divergence to instruments that are made with digital nerves and what have you. That's all fine and thing, but the essence of it and the original form was, of course, from the hand carved. And that connection of the body, the timbre, the voice that comes from it, you can never really lose that. You're only emulating that. You're copying it. So when you go back to the source, there it is. We're a little unrestrained here. And so maybe there are some aberrations to the tunes that one could call, it's probably a diplomatic way of terming such changes. I think we tend to be a bit irreverent almost in some ways to tunes. So the possibilities of those tunes get a new shot of, I think we're a bit larrikin in our approach, and I think that certainly comes through in the tunes. But what I was going to say about the actual heritage, and when you've basically got nothing else, what can you do? You've got to sing, you've got to carve, you've got timber around you. It gets back to that bottom, that ground swell, the grassroots of producing music. That's where the folk music becomes a heritage, becomes an expression of what you have, and there's lots of modern expression for it as well. Heritage, I don't think, needs to stand still either. So I think there's always a constant path and a tree that is developing, but we've got big roots, strong roots. I think we're in a good stead there.